Deep, dramatic, and authoritative. 23:26 hours, Sunday, March 29, 2026. Prince Sultan Air Base, Al-Kharj, Saudi Arabia. Staff Sergeant Marcus Webb was still drinking his coffee when the IBCS, the Integrated Battle Command System, screamed its first alert. The Patriot AN/MPQ-65 radar at the base's northern perimeter had just acquired 11 distinct ballistic trajectories inbound from the northwest. Fateh 110 derivatives, Mach 3.5, time to impact 94 seconds. What happened in the next 13 minutes would become the single most complex air defense engagement in the history of the U.S. military's presence in the Arabian Peninsula, and it was only the opening move of a night that would drag the world to the very edge of a regional war with no exit. This was not a random retaliation. This was Palm Sunday, and Iran had been planning this salvo for a week. To understand how we got here, you need to back up exactly 6 days. March 23, 2026. U.S. naval aviation, operating from the deck of the USS Gerald R. Ford in the Gulf of Oman, conducted the most concentrated single-day strike package of Operation Epic Fury. FA-18E Super Hornets and B-1B Lancers, coordinating through the E-3 Sentry AWACS call sign Chalice 01, hammered the IRGCN's 2nd Naval Region headquarters in Bushehr City. Satellite imagery confirmed total structural collapse. Simultaneously, Israeli F-35I Adir aircraft, operating with in-flight refueling from an IAF KC-46, struck the naval mine manufacturing plant in Yazd province, eliminating Iran's last significant anti-ship mine production capability. U.S. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper went on record. "We are on plan or ahead of schedule. 92% of the Iranian Navy's largest vessels had been destroyed. More than 11,000 targets struck in 30 days. The numbers were devastating, but the IRGC had one card it had not yet played, and on the night of March 29th, it dealt the entire hand at once. 23:14 hours, Al Udeid Air Base, Qatar. The CAOC, the Combined Air Operations Center, began receiving simultaneous warnings from 3 separate sensor nodes. The ANTPY-2 forward-based X-band radar in northern Saudi Arabia picked up the first ballistic launch signatures emanating from hardened sites near Khorramshahr, Iran. At the exact same moment, the E-8C Joint Stars orbiting over the Red Sea detected ground movement signatures consistent with Houthi mobile launch platforms rolling out of their camouflaged tunnel networks in Al-Baida Governorate, Yemen. And an NRO KH-11 pass over Bandar Abbas confirmed a formation of 60-plus Shahed 136 kamikaze drones lifting off from IRGC naval bases along the Persian Gulf coast, heading southwest toward the UAE. 3 separate vectors, 3 separate theaters, initiated within a 4-minute window of each other. This was not improvisation. This was the IRGC's version of air-land battle, a simultaneous, multi-domain attack designed to saturate and overwhelm. The Iranians had studied the American way of war for 40 years, and they had concluded that America's greatest tactical weakness was not firepower, it was the cognitive load of simultaneous crises. Give the Americans too many fires to fight at once, and even their magnificent kill chains begin to fray. They were about to find out if they were right. Back at Prince Sultan Air Base, the Patriot Battery Commander, Captain Diane Kowalski, was executing the terminal defense protocol that her crew had rehearsed exactly 1,047 times in simulation. The ANPPQ-65 had locked on 11 inbound tracks. She had 8 PAC-3 MSE interceptors immediately available. Do the math. She screamed over the radio for the second battery to come online. The Saudis' own TIAD unit, positioned 3 kilometers south, was already firing. Falcon Red, this is Sabre 1 actual. Declare immediate fire, all PAC-3, Salvo mode. Execute. 7 of the 11 inbound missiles were intercepted in a blinding flash of terminal kinetics above the desert sky. 3 slipped through the intercept basket in the seam between the Patriot and TIAD engagement zones, a gap of exactly 2.3 seconds that the Iranians had calculated with geometric precision. The Fateh 110s impacted on the eastern flight line. The blast wave shattered windows in the operations center. 15 U.S. service members were wounded. An E-3 Sentry AWACS, call sign Chalice 03, took shrapnel damage to its rotodome housing and was rendered non-mission capable. It was the first AWACS killed in a combat engagement since the 1991 Gulf War. The loss of that surveillance node created a 17-minute blind spot over the northern Persian Gulf at the exact moment Iran's second wave was inbound. That 17-minute gap was not an accident, it was the plan. 23:41 hours, Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. The Al aluminum smelting complex at Al Tawila, the largest aluminum production facility in the world, lit up like a second sun. The first of 16 Shahab-3 Mod-2 ballistic missiles impacted the primary smelting hall with terminal accuracy of less than 8 meters CEP, circular error probable. The building, a cathedral of industrial steel and carbon lining, disintegrated under the kinetic energy of a 760-kilogram warhead traveling at Mach 3.8. Simultaneously, 42 Shahed 136 loitering munitions, flying in 3 coordinated swarms using a GPS-denied IR terminal homing package, began their final descent toward the complex's transformer farms and liquid metal transportation infrastructure. The UAE Patriot battery at Al-Batin scrambled. It got 27 of the 42 drones. 15 broke through. The resulting aluminum fires, burning metal does not obey the physics of conventional fire suppression, would burn for 11 straight hours. Global aluminum futures surged 19% before trading with halted in London. What you have to understand is what was happening simultaneously in the Strait of Hormuz. 23:38 hours, Dubai coastal waters, UAE. The Kuwaiti VLC, a very large crude carrier, designated MV Al-Sabah, fully loaded with 2.1 million barrels of Kuwaiti export crude, was transiting toward the Dubai Petroleum Terminal when the drone struck. Not a drone from altitude, a surface drone, one of Iran's explosive suicide skiffs, a fiberglass hull packed with 500 kilograms of RDX composite, disguised as a fishing dhow using AIS transponder spoofing and a camouflage net over a skeletal wooden superstructure. The skiff had been pre-positioned 6 hours earlier, drifting with the current, its engine silent. When the MV Al-Sabah passed within 400 meters, the IRGC controller, sitting in a hardened bunker in Bandar Abbas, activated the drive system remotely via encrypted UHF data link and sent the skiff into a terminal attack run at 28 knots. The resulting explosion tore a 12-meter gash below the waterline in the port bow. 2 Kuwaiti sailors were killed instantly. 2.1 million barrels of crude began hemorrhaging into the Gulf. The threat of the largest maritime oil spill in the history of the Persian Gulf hung over the next 72 hours. But the night was not finished, not even close. 23:49 hours, Red Sea, Houthi-controlled Yemen. For the preceding 24 hours, CENTCOM analysts had been tracking the activation signatures of an unusual formation of Houthi Qarar-1 suicide drones, a Yemeni-assembled variant of the Iranian Shahed 136, modified with a maritime radar seeker for anti-ship terminal guidance. The drones began moving off their launch rails at exactly 23:49 local time, heading northeast toward the Red Sea's critical shipping lanes. The Houthis had chosen this moment deliberately. They had formally declared their entry into Operation Epic Fury 48 hours prior, warning in a televised statement that they would target any vessel transiting the Red Sea that was serving the interests of the Zionist American Axis. And now those words were becoming missiles. The USS Gravely, an Arleigh Burke-class Flight 2A destroyer positioned at the southern end